when tragedy strikes.
I remember thinking, you know, we're in a ring of Dante's hell. The smell was horrible. Everywhere there's destruction.
Communities rally together.
We actually carried people out of Glasgow Holler on doors.
Like after April 27, 2011, when 62 tornadoes left a path of destruction through Alabama.
We couldn't believe it was happening when it actually did.
From a human standpoint, that was probably the worst day Alabama has ever had.
More than 200 lives lost. Countless others hurt.
Shortly after that, I saw several clients that were traumatized by the tornado.
Families forced to start over, some with nothing.
I mean, everything was gone but one cross.
Many without loved ones.
There were people that were not going to live through this tornado, and there was nothing we could do about it.
10 years later,
A lot of things have happened since 2011, a lot of good things.
communities continue rebuilding.
It looks 100% better. After the tornado, we ended up getting this park, and we also have safe rooms.
Stronger and ready for whatever comes our way. WVTM 13 Chronicle presents Recovery and Resilience.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm Lisa Crane. We are marking a decade since our state changed forever. April 27, 2011, the largest, costliest, and one of the deadliest tornado outbreaks in history. The twisters killed hundreds, destroyed communities, and forced families, friends, and neighbors to relocate. And though we still mourn our losses, we are celebrating how far we've come over the last decade. From rebuilding our communities and neighborhoods to preparing safety plans and making sure we have what we need to survive severe weather. We're going to start in one of the areas hardest hit where we saw most of the damage, and that's right here in Tuscaloosa County. Parts of the region were leveled in what's now known as one of the most destructive days in Alabama's severe weather history. An EF4 tornado traveled from the Druid City all the way to the Magic City. That's about 58 miles. Here on the left, Rosedale Courts just after the tornado hit. But you probably don't even recognize the housing community. It has been reduced to just piles of debris. The video on the right is what it looks like today. You can see it's been totally rebuilt. Leading up to that day, the National Weather Service warned Tuscaloosa County would most likely be hit by a tornado. But even knowing that, who could have been prepared for what would happen here that day?
We knew what was coming. We certainly couldn't have imagined it would be like the hand of God slammed down on our city.
This was the sobering reality for Tuscaloosa County residents.
You know, the first time I saw it, it literally took all the oxygen out of me. Not only the scene of destruction, I'd never seen destruction like this. To see people bleeding, trying to take themselves into the hospital. Communications were down.
Mayor Walt Maddox was in his second term back in 2011.
And as you looked at the debris pile and everyone's clawing through it, they don't have any protective gear on. They're just trying to get to this 5-year-old girl.
Now in his 15th year as mayor, the April 27th tornado and its aftermath has defined his tenure.
If you lost a loved one, or you lost your business, or you lost your home, the defining of recovery is extremely difficult. But we had $1 billion worth of damage. From our standpoint, we received about $130 million worth of funding to rebuild a lot of bad infrastructure. We've been able to succeed, and the private sector has done a fantastic job.
He says the recovery is still ongoing, but the help from thousands of volunteers, residents, and organizations over the last decade has made it possible.
Not one time during that amazing journey, which was so difficult, did we ever feel alone, and that's something that I'll never forget.
Folks in other communities all across Alabama also remember that difficult journey over the last 10 years. In Hackleburg, an EF5 tornado devastated the small town of 1,500, killing 18 people. The winds raged at about 210 miles an hour, tossing cars up to 200 yards and destroying the Wrangler jeans plant. That plant has since reopened, and so has Hackleburg High School, which you may remember was shuttered for nearly 4 years because of the tornado damage. The school used portable classrooms and alternate locations before moving into a new building. Today, city officials say the Marion County town is about 75 to 80% back to where it was before the tornadoes, but they're still struggling to restore housing in the area. In Birmingham, the Pratt City community was hit hard. This small, tight-knit neighborhood saw a lot of loss, but since then, neighbors have come together and come back better than before.
It looked like a bomb had just went off. I mean, it's indescribable. You know, you see it on TV and you be like, oh, that looks bad. But until you see it in person, it's like, it's indescribable.
That's something we can all attest to. As horrific as the pictures and video are, in person, the destruction was much worse. Michelle Perkins survived in her Pratt City home's basement with her children.
3 minutes seemed like it was like 30 minutes. I mean, we could hear the house tearing up. We could feel it. We were rocking. And when we came out, we walked upstairs and we could see the sky.
Her home was a total loss, but that was not the main concern on April 27th.
We could hear people hollering. And at that time, all the teenagers and young adults ran down the big hill, this hill, and started rescuing people. They came up and said that my Aunt Bessie, they couldn't find her. So we started looking for her.
Bessie Brewster died in the storm. She was 72. Her house was obliterated. There was no safe place for her there. Now, 10 years later, Pratt City looks much different.
We rebuilt houses, and they were better than they were when the tornado came. We got safe rooms because of it. So now that if we have tornadoes, we have somewhere to go to be safe. We still got work to do, but it looks much better, and we're trying to make it much better. South of Parrish, in the Vestavia Hills community of Cahaba Heights, an EF2 tornado barreled through just before 6 in the morning on April 27th. The National Weather Service originally reported damage due to straight-line winds, then changed the cause to a tornado. Wind speeds reached 120 miles an hour. Trees were torn down all over the area. If you drive through the neighborhoods now, you can see the preened yards, businesses bustling, even some construction along roadways. Signs of a community adjusting over the past decade. The April 27th superstorm was a rare occurrence in many ways. For one, meteorologists say in the days leading up to the event, there were opportunities for the storm to strengthen or weaken. And every time it got stronger and deadlier. It was a generational event. Conditions aligned perfectly to create a superstorm that spawned dozens of tornadoes over a 24-hour period. Meteorologists around the state could tell in the days leading up to April 27th that it would be historic.
I was physically getting nauseous about 2 days in advance, knowing just how bad it was going to be. And I think the ultimate thought of every man and woman in the Weather Service was, are we getting the message out? Are people hearing this? Do they truly understand the gravity of this unfolding situation?
10 years ago, Jim Stefkovich was the meteorologist in charge at the National Weather Service in Birmingham.
When we actually saw that mile-wide wedge tornado on the ground going through Tuscaloosa, everybody realized it's happening. People are dying. It took a very much emotional toll on everyone.
When the dust settled, it was the National Weather Service job to survey the damage, and it was a massive undertaking.
For the 62 tornadoes that passed through the state, if you took every track and put it end to end, it was 1,300 miles. That's like driving from Birmingham to Boston. That's how much tornado damage occurred.
Since then, many have asked, with days of advance notice, why was April 27th so deadly? Well, the answer, just the sheer strength of the tornadoes. Several were EF4s and EF5s, bringing winds of more than 200 miles an hour. And they hit in populated areas. Meteorologists have worked to refine the warning system to reduce false alarms and zero in on the danger zone so Alabamians don't get apathetic when they hear there's a tornado warning in their area.
The warnings have gotten better, so when the National Weather Service issues a warning, people know you better take it seriously because something is likely going to happen.
April 27th is a day no forecaster will forget, but Stefkovich says he couldn't be more proud of his team and their effort.
When something disastrous is happening, everybody pulls together, and I never saw the dedication from the men and women in the National Weather Service that I saw that day.
There were so many tornadoes. When they came in waves, there was a morning wave, so to speak, and then an afternoon wave.
A severe weather event like no other.
It became evident and just clear that this was going to be different.
The WVTM weather team reflecting on that deadly day.
All of us were getting together talking about it because it looked bad.
And when they knew it was taking a turn for the worst. Plus, seeking shelter from community safeguards.
We actually would drive to the firehouse tornado shelter.
To residential shelters.
You know, this is something not to play around with.
A family choosing to beef up their safety plan by installing a shelter in their own yard. Welcome back, everyone. According to the National Weather Service, the 62 tornadoes that touched down in Alabama on April 27th left 1,300 miles of destruction. Our Adrian Castellano is in the studio with a look at that from space. Adrian?
You know, looking at the destruction from the ground was just surreal. Take a look at this. Houses destroyed, knocked off their foundations, trees snapped. And as we go higher in the sky from helicopter, you get a view of the entire scope of damage as this powerful EF4 tornado crossed over neighborhoods, completely destroying them. But most incredible of all, this satellite view from after that day. You can see the tornado scar marks, we call them, from Tuscaloosa to Jefferson County. That EF4 tornado was on the ground for over 80 miles. The Cordova EF4 tornado there just to the north. Then you had the Hackleburg EF5 that was on the ground for over 100 miles. All in all, from this day, April 27, 2011, over 60 tornadoes occurred across the state of Alabama.
The entire WVTM 13 weather department worked some very long hours on that day. It was an emotional time for our meteorologist who realized early on this storm system would make history.
I mean, those were monster tornadoes. I remember thinking that there were people that were not going to survive this tornado. There were people that were not going to live through this tornado, and there was nothing we could do about it.
Stephanie Walker says she concentrated on staying focused and getting the word out to as many people as possible to take shelter as tornadoes barreled through Alabama, one after another after another. Harmony Mendoza was reporting live right outside the studio on top of Red Mountain.
I had to watch that monster tear apart people's houses and lives, and then actually see it in the days after, reporting on it. And every story was different. Everybody's lives are changed, and they're forever changed, even 10 years later.
As the pictures and video of damage and destruction started coming in, they say it went from scientific to personal.
When you see all this damage and then you start hearing about the loss of life and whatnot, it makes you heartsick because you think, wasn't there something more I could have done?
10 years have given scientists time to study the event and learn. Technology has changed significantly since then as well. Now WVTM 13 has live Doppler radar, seeing storms in real time with no delay.
Those supercells were moving 50 to 60 miles an hour. So when you're tracking something that fast, having a live radar image is huge. It's everything. You know, we can track those supercell tornadic thunderstorms live and in real time, and every minute counts.
Now with our WVTM 13 live Doppler, we have this technology where we can actually track debris balls, debris signatures. We can see if there's anything that's spiraling in the atmosphere that's not a water droplet.
That technology gives you more information and more time to get into your safe space. Since 2011, there are also many more safe spaces available for Alabamians.
The most heartening thing was seeing a new storm shelter that's about a half mile from where we're standing now. So people took action, and they'll be ready for the next one.
The historic weather event caused many people to rethink their safety plan. If you don't have a safe place in your own home, where will you go when a warning strikes? Many municipalities have installed community storm shelters, but others have opted for private residential shelters. This 3,000-pound storm shelter made of half-inch steel is bringing peace of mind to William Lockamy. His parish home doesn't have a basement, and he knows the destructive and deadly power of tornadoes. He lived in Pleasant Grove on April 27, 2011.
There was 6 people that died within 100 yards of our house. We actually carried people out of Glasgow Holler on doors because the ambulances couldn't get there to them. The sheriff's department had came through Pleasant Grove and asked if anybody could help, and would they, and that's what we did.
Lockamy has lived through 4 tornadoes in his life and is still in awe of their power and impetuous whims.
You'd open a refrigerator and everything could still be stacked just like it was, and light bulbs still in the ceiling, and all the bulbs, none of the bulbs were broke. But yet there was weapons that had the barrels bent, and then there was cars that had 2x4s drove through the side of the car.
He says now he can get into his shelter with about a minute's notice, and he's confident they'll be safe in the shelter that can withstand winds of 250 miles an hour plus. That's an EF5 tornado.
We've had, more than one instance where the only thing left is the shelter itself. You might see some neighboring homes there, but the shelter that's anchored down is the only thing left standing.
Weaver points to pictures of their shelters still intact amidst the devastation of the April 27th tornadoes. Lockamy bought the largest residential shelter with a 16-person capacity to make sure his neighbors are safe as well.
The people on either side of us do not have storm shelters, and we've already told them that this is, they're welcome. They will have keys to it, and we don't have to be here. If we're not here, they can still use the shelter.
The Lockamys spent close to $7,000 on their storm shelter, but they say the peace of mind is worth every penny. Ahead, when a tornado took everything from a family.
Fully dressed, but didn't have no shoes on. Took about 3 minutes, it was all over.
Their faith remained.
I'm a great believer in God.
Forced to start over late in life.
Two become one, and this is the fact.
Keeping love at the center of their fight. But first, mental health professionals.
I think I saw 50 people in the course of several weeks, months.
Living through the April 27th tornadoes.
Expect that you're going to have flashbacks or, be a little bit irritable or jumpy.
10 years later, many survivors are still dealing with the emotional effects. WVTM 13's Jeff Eliasoff spoke with two of those people who are also uniquely qualified to help others deal with their stress.
On April 27, 2011, Richard Yoakum bought gasoline at the Shell station at 15th and McFarland in Tuscaloosa. About an hour later, he turned on the news.
The first newscast, it was like we're live on the scene here at 15th and McFarland at the Shell station. 11 was gone.
Still vividly recalling,
cars blew up, looked like, and the trees were stripped of their foliage, and some of them were knocked down, and buildings were leveled, and it just looked like a war zone.
A decade later, Yoakum understands lingering trauma. He's now the director of counseling at Samford University.
So if I come to you today and ask for your counsel, you in effect, you're my therapist, and I say, oh my God, this has been 10 years and I'm still having nightmares. Is that a surprise to you?
Absolutely not.
Yoakum has helped others suffering from PTSD with flashbacks and fears that could resurface on the anniversary of the triggering event, such as this. He says talk therapy, some medicines can help, and having an anchor.
Something that that you're sure of, that you can hold on to, of strength for you, whether it's a family member or your, religion or your faith. Finding out that, knowing that no matter what happens, we're gonna get through this.
We actually saw the tornado coming right at us.
Psychologist Dr. Nancy Rubin was also in Tuscaloosa that fateful day.
And I remember I actually had a colleague under my arm, and she was burrowing in because she was so frightened when it was coming.
Within days of the tornadoes, she went back to work.
I think I saw 50 people in the course of several weeks, months. So I heard all their stories, because the first part of this treatment for a recent event is that they tell the story.
Dr. Rubin, a professor at UA, still has trouble when sirens sound in stormy weather. She's been treating PTSD patients with a specialized therapy involving eye movements. Both she and Counselor Yoakum agree if anyone is suffering trauma from any event, including the storms of 2011, they should face those fears.
The process can be very difficult, but the rewards or the benefit can be obviously life-changing.
Not everyone has been able to fully recover in these past 10 years, but no one should fear getting help.
Thank you. I thank God for that.
The couple praising the Lord for protecting them 10 years ago.
We got behind the cross and laid down and didn't get a scratch.
To give them something better today.
Look at the house now. You should have saw the one that got tore up. Well, nothing like that.
It's difficult to pinpoint exactly what a tornado will do. One Smithfield Estates couple was caught right in the track of the April 27th twister. Thankfully, they lived to tell about it.
This was no emergency, just an urgent anniversary celebration.
70 years.
Family, friends, and Birmingham Fire, throwing a parade for Melvin and Juanita Kent and their 7 decades of love.
How did you all meet in the first place?
Oh man, you don't want to know that.
Oh, I definitely want to know now.
Well, I had a friend, met her before I did, a boyfriend, and he couldn't get to her. So I told him, give me the number. So he gave me the number. All worked out.
But this Pratt couple's love story could have ended April 27th, 2011.
I was sitting watching TV that morning when they talked about the tornado coming this way, even from Tuscaloosa, clean up here. They got here, they said it was going to turn and go Smithfield, but it did not. They came this way.
They made a dash to the bathroom and covered themselves with cushions.
And we laid there for about 3 minutes, and it was all over. The whole house was gone.
At the time, the Kents were about 80 years old, and they escaped without a scratch. Pretty lucky, although Ms. Juanita would say it had nothing to do with luck.
It's just a blessing from God.
A year or so later, they rebuilt on the same property.
It was sad, but it was glad too. Because when we realized man couldn't have did this, God did this for us. Look at the house now. You should have saw the one that got tore up. Well, nothing like this. God, bigger and better.
And outside the new home stands this cross, reminding everyone about their blessing.
And you can't see how nobody could walk away from that. Man, it was something. But I know what the answer is. My help comes from the Lord.
Sometimes Mr. Melvin's joy
thank you.
just bubbles out. And with Ms. Juanita by his side,
70 years and we still holding hands.
That's right.
Thank God.
he's got plenty to be thankful for.
In the weeks, months, years since the tornadoes, Central Alabamians have grown stronger and more resilient with new tools to help keep them safe during severe weather, like WVTM 13 Live Doppler. When our weather team is tracking tornadic thunderstorms, every minute counts. That's why the 3-minute advantage is so important. You can track storms with our Live Doppler on the WVTM 13 app. That's also where you'll find these stories of recovery and resilience. I'm always looking for unique stories and amazing people here in Alabama. If you have a Chronicle idea, let me hear from you. You can email me or send me a message on Facebook. Until next time, I'm Lisa Crane for WVTM 13 Chronicle.